The year is 2050. The United States has elected Betty White as president, the world is still dying, and Playboi Carti has finally dropped a deluxe version of Whole Lotta Red.
Psych!
But there is one thing that has plagued this earth since it first became a thing so many years ago: posthumous albums. Now, I don't exactly hate them, but instead absolutely despise them. True, there have been some good ones, but for some odd reason it's as if that one album after death is all worth listening to, because after that it becomes an obvious cash grab. And for today's review, we have to talk about the latest attempt at a cash grab from a rapper's death, with Juice WRLD's latest album, Fighting Demons. You know, I thought I'd never do another one of these, but it's like I have no choice with this one. Okay, so when listening to this album, I can tell with the utmost confidence, without a doubt, that this has to be a cash grab or something. For the majority, this album seems very boring and nothing really stands out for me to the point where I wanted to discuss it in detail. The intro song, being produced by Metro Boomin, is probably the best song out of all of them, but even still, it carries the same repetitive flowing chorus that seems very boring from Juice WRLD's end. I know that this album is trying to show Juice WRLD's struggle with drugs and mental health, but I feel like its execution was very weak and just didn't seem like something I'd expect from him if he was alive. Some tracks seem to carry that hype anthem style for that stronger mainstream appeal, while some other tracks definitely go into Juice's struggles and hardship, dealing with his issues alongside his fame. But when listening to this project as a whole, there's only a slight difference when trying to separate the highs and the lows because of how similar and dull everything sounds. There was also some tracks with narration from Eminem and Juice WRLD himself talking about their issues, and while that was nice for the direction of this album, it didn't do too much for the rest of the project. But as for the production, it was fair, but nothing too standoutish either. As stated before, the first song was probably the most appealing because of that Metro beat, but other than that, it was just bouncing back and forth between the sad guitar and the heavy 808s. As for the features, I don't really know. There was Justin Bieber on the track Wander to LA, and he was okay. There was also Polo G and Trippie Redd on the track Feline, which seemed like the only commendable feature on this album because they actually associated with the rapper. And then there was Suga and BTS, who are both K-pop artists, and it's not that I have a problem with K-pop, but I mean, you couldn't get anyone else who could fit Juice's direction and style more than just some big names to fill streams. But I don't know, I don't want to rant on something as minuscule as a famous dead guy with a problematic addiction getting milked for money. But overall, this album wasn't really something for me to put up on a pedestal. Damn near every song seemed very boring or repetitive in a way that just didn't really stand out, making this album seem less like Juice WRLD's album and more like a battle of producers in the industry. The mixing was solid, but the beats were average, with Metro having the best to no surprise. And the features were solid, but nothing too great either. So to put this on a scale, I'm giving this a strong 2 out of 10, with this being a low bar for the music industry, and me really hoping that they don't ever put out another posthumous Juice WRLD album ever again. But how did you guys feel about his latest album? What would you rate it? Let me know down in the comments while liking and subscribing. Make sure to follow my IG and Twitter. And if you like the illustrations used in this video, make sure to follow the artist as well because she's dope. And oh yeah, make sure to follow my second channel, Wallow's Gaming, for me outside of music. And on that note, I'll see you on Friday for another album review. Peace.
Objects that I've shoved up my arse. Vibrators. Dildos. Pens, pencils,